What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to NFL Turf Talk. This is your Week 2 recap and breakdown, as well as getting into this Dolphins-Bills Week 3 kickoff for Thursday Night Football. I'm one half of your host, Dylan Davis. To my left, my faithful co-host, Scotty. And as always, we are streaming to you live from the DSM Media Twitter channel, as well as the DSM Turf Talk YouTube channel. So, guys, first and foremost, make sure to check us out on Twitter at DSM_media is where you can find us. Make sure to hit that follow button, and then check out the link tree in our bio. It will take you to every social media platform we're on. More specifically, check out the YouTube link that you can see under Scotty. It is the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here on the screen. So make sure to subscribe, like the video, share it, whatever you got to do to continue to help us get this train rolling. Busy week 2, man. A lot of points scored in the 1 o'clock slate. A lot less scored from 4 p.m. on. We got a lot to break down. We obviously already talked about the Commanders-Packers Thursday night matchup from last week on Sunday show as we were previewing that slate. So it's going to be a fun show. We're going to get into our updated top 10 power rankings. We're going to get into our updated tier rankings in terms of Super Bowl champs, all the way down to absolutely stinks early on in the year. But happy Thursday, man. Football's on tonight. Even though it doesn't seem like a great game on the surface, we're excited for it.
Yeah, we're a bit excited for it here, man. The Dolphins showed a few signs of like decent offense last week, so
Offensively, sure.
Let's hope for some explosions on that end from them, and then of course we know the Bills will show up tonight, ready to go. But happy Thursday, man. We made it through the week for the most part. It's Little Friday Junior. And you know, we're one step closer to NFL Sunday, which is my favorite day of the week. So, yeah, Thursday's always a nice little preview for the big day Sunday. And, I would say a decent matchup. The Miami Dolphins should come in very hungry tonight, being 0-2 and the way they've looked the first 2 weeks. Mike McDaniel in the hot seat. So let's get it.
What's up, little meetings going on?
Little Ja, little Evie.
What's going on?
How y'all doing? D-Rab.
Appreciate tonight. I think tonight is the perfect, the personification of when we sit there in August and go, I would watch anything right now. Just put football on the screen. I can't wait for a Hall of Fame game. I'll watch any Thursday night football.
Exactly.
When we get to this matchup and we're like, maybe it's a good night to take your girl out to dinner, show her that you don't really care about football, all this different stuff. And it's like, but we'll get into that later on the show, man. Let's look at the week 2 matchups. What are some of your major takeaways? What teams, positive or negative? Because this goes both ways early on in the season.
I think one thing to look at was the way the Lions bounced back in Detroit against the Chicago Bears. It was something that we were looking at going into that game. Just asking, like, are the Lions going to step up to the call and do what they should do against a Bears team that was beaten at home by the Minnesota Vikings a week before, and just looked like they completely fell apart in the second half of that Monday Night Football game. So, looking at it from that perspective, I think the Lions went out there. They did that and more. You had Goff with a 5-touchdown pass game, showed they weren't missing Ben Johnson too much against their old offensive coordinator. Mon-Ra had 3 tutties in this one, over 100 receiving yards. They really just had it going offensively, put up 52 points in this game. So it was – I use the term good as an Eagles fan, but more as an NFL analyst in this sense. It was good to see the Lions bounce back like that at home, make it a competitive NFC, and more importantly, a competitive NFC North as the Packers continue to just look like a dominant force up there in Green Bay. So I was really, I won't say I was surprised, but
it was something we were looking for on the kickoff.
We were looking for sure.
Yeah. How you bounce back, and it didn't seem, I don't know if it was more in a loving, joking way, but it didn't seem to they didn't seem to miss Ben Johnson too much, and Ben Johnson had to be chased down at midfield after the game to get a handshake from somebody. There didn't seem to be too much love lost from his departure and staying within the division. One of the celebrations was from his trick play of Goff falling down last year after Lions scored. So it was an interesting matchup. as a football fan, like you said, it was nice to see that fight from Detroit because the way they looked against Green Bay, maybe Green Bay just is that good. Maybe they are a team that is hand in hand with Philadelphia this year. We match up with them later on in the season, so we'll see how that goes. The addition of Micah Parsons has obviously been huge, but the way that they got just snuffed out in that opener, the offense was so lethargic. They scored a garbage time touchdown to the backup tight end, was the only time they crossed the pylon that game. And to come out and drop a 50-burger on a division rival in your home opener was a great way to bounce back. I'm going to keep it positive with my biggest takeaway so far through not only this week, but through 2 weeks, man. What is in the water in Indianapolis? What is happening? Because week 1, you can look back and say, okay, and you see the way the Dolphins, specifically the Dolphins defense, has started this season and go, okay, I can kind of see how they come away with a major win in Indianapolis. Now, they were a half second away from losing this game because some idiot decided to leap over the center and push down the center on a missed field goal as time expired. So the Broncos went from celebration to loss real quick, but that's not why I'm looking at this Colts team. It's not just the record, Scotty. We've seen it time and time again over the last couple of years. We've seen it with Sam Darnold. We've seen it with Geno Smith. We've really seen it with Baker Mayfield. We've seen these guys go elsewhere, get a change of scenery, find a system that really fits them. Jared Goff, obviously went to a Super Bowl in LA, but moves on, and look what he's been able to do in Detroit, right? They find a system, and it works for them. The Dolphins are one thing. To throw 29 up on the board against that Broncos defense that is looked at and talked about as one of the most stellar units, one of the most physical units in the National Football League is no joke. And for this dude who's been a dual threat quarterback in the past, his legs were kind of the bigger story of him. For this dude, Daniel Jones, to go 23 of 34 for over 300 yards passing, add in a passing touchdown. I think he ran for a touchdown or two in this one. For him to look the way he has in Shane Steichen's system so far, in that division, it's interesting. That's all I'm going to say. The Colts are something to keep an eye on because one of my biggest negatives, which I'll get to in a minute, is in that division. Another negative is in that division. Another team has a rookie quarterback and is 0-2. So there's a real opportunity. We're 2 weeks in. It's the middle of September. But there is an opportunity for the Indianapolis Colts to keep this going.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think the key point with the Colts is the division that they're located in, to your point. I think they ultimately can stay afloat with just running the football and playing good defense. But I think the astonishing thing is that Daniel Jones has been able to throw the football down the field. He was at least close to 300 passing yards in the first game as well, right? If not,
I believe so.
Had 316 passing yards in this one. You mentioned the rushing
272 against Miami.
272 against Miami. So, yeah, they're able to air the ball out a good bit. We thought that the receivers would be a little mediocre. Well, he's able to work with them very well so far. I like what I'm seeing. And to your point about the Broncos, man, supposed to be a stifling defense from what we saw last year. They really rode that defense all the way to the postseason last season. And it hasn't been what we've expected to an extent to start this year so far. You were going against a rookie quarterback the first week in Cam Ward, and then this week you let Daniel Jones, which we'll see. Daniel Jones in Indy could be a thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of wiggle room for Daniel Jones to come back down the earth. There's a long
So I just think, when you're looking at this Broncos team, this was a team that we looked at. They might step up this year and be even better than what they were last year. We expected Bo Nix to maybe be a little bit better than he was last year, maybe compete with the Chiefs in that division. But right now, it looks like the Chargers have taken the forefront.
That is a good point. The Broncos look unimpressive, uninspiring as well so far.
Yeah, I think the Chargers look like the team ready to take the division by the horns. But it's very early on. We know how quickly this season can turn in another direction, of course. But I think the Broncos, they're interesting because – Week 1, you had a poor performance from Bo Nix. I think he threw multiple interceptions in that game against Tennessee. And then this game, he kind of bounces back. He has a 3-touchdown game. I think he only threw 1 pick in this one. but they still come out, they lose. So they got to figure some things out offensively and defensively there in Denver. The next thing, man, that I will ultimately throw your way, and you mentioned him in the spiel about the Colts ultimately, but the Jaguars in that Bengals game, you obviously had Joe Burrow go down in this one with the turf toe, I believe it was. He's going to be out. They put him on IR, so he's going to be out for at least a few games.
3 months, brother.
3 months. Yeah, I was going to say, I was getting confused in my head. 3 months or 3 games. But yeah, 3 months. You are right. I remember hearing that. So that's a huge blow for the Cincinnati Bengals. But you would think Joe Burrow going down in this game, that the team that they're playing should be able to step up, grab a big win, especially after the performance we saw from the Jags in week 1, where it's not that they won a game that they weren't supposed to. It was just that they did win the game the way they were supposed to.
And they also went into this game after Joe. They also went into halftime after Joe Burrow goes down with a 7-point lead. Jacksonville did.
Yeah. So I have obviously a lot more questions about them. 2 interceptions from Trevor Lawrence in this one. You lose to Jake Browning.
Who gifted you the ball as well? Then Jake Browning, let me check. I know he threw at least one, but
he threw 3. Yeah.
3. Oh, God.
He threw 3. 3. And his minimal time on the field. No, he played a little bit over half of the game in this one.
Right before halftime, I believe, is when Burrow went down.
It's interesting, man. Can the Bengals stay afloat with Jake Browning? And then on the other side, the Jags, man, what the hell are they?
It's every year, bro. It seems like it's every year. You talk about interceptions, and obviously Jake Browning had more in that category than Trevor Lawrence. But if you go back to the first half, I know you and I and D-Rab were keeping a close eye on it because we all had the over in that game.
Yeah.
Very early on, I think the Jags were already winning at this point. And Trevor Lawrence drove down inside the 5 and just threw one of the worst interceptions in the end zone that you'll probably see this year.
Yeah.
It just can't happen. At some point, I think we said this before the season, where we're talking about him or someone else. Maybe we were talking about someone else, but you just have to grow up at some point.
Yeah.
You just have to mature, and Trevor Lawrence just doesn't seem like we were talking about Caleb Williams when we're talking about maturity, but Trevor Lawrence is somewhat in the same boat as that. It's like he just
he's a little bit more further along, even more grow the hell up, right? Especially the way he was touted coming out of Clemson, man. He's very similar in a sense. I can't remember back to he's a national championship, multi-national championship visits, a national champion. So he came out with a lot of hype out of college, very similar to Caleb Williams.
Yeah, bro. I remember. I think between his high school career and his career at Clemson, he lost 2 games or some crazy shit. The dude was just known as a winner, and then obviously Jacksonville's not the best place to be, but you're not helping your cause, man. But I'm going to keep it in this division because while the Jags were one of the teams that I added into my AFC South spiel and how the Colts have an opportunity, the other team that was supposed to kind of run away, they've owned this division since this quarterback has come in 2 years ago. That's the Houston Texans. And on Monday night, wow, is all I can really say. This offense stinks, dude.
Yeah.
Stinks.
Just when you think they're going to turn a corner, you get the early Nico Collins study, and man.
It is really, really bad. I know they had injuries up front on the offensive line. They have guys missing, like Christian Kirk's not playing right now. So outside of Nico, who do you Joe Mixon, you have an older Nick Chubb starting for you. That really doesn't matter. What it comes down to, man, is CJ Stroud for me.
Yeah.
What is CJ Stroud? We're just over 2 years and 2 games into this guy's career. But what is he? Because he does not elevate anyone around him. There were time after time after time last year where the offense was stagnant and ugly. And this year, through 2 weeks, it is more of the same.
Yeah.
Scott, they have 2 touchdowns on the season. They have 2 touchdowns in 2 games. And they both came this past game. It's been really, really hard to watch. And then as soon as the Bucs gift the Texans' field position late in the fourth quarter. Nick Chubb explodes through a hole and runs in a 20-some yard touchdown to take the lead with like 2 minutes left or a little under 2 minutes left. The defense that was stellar all night long under DeMeco Ryans was getting after Baker Mayfield at will after the first 2 drives of this game. Allow Baker to run his 2-minute drill all the way down to inside the 5, inside the 2, and with 6 seconds left, Rachaad White breaks the game open with a rushing tutty, and the Texans start the year 0-2. You can talk about that last defensive drive all you want. The problem with this team, the reason they lost this game, the reason they are 0-2 is because of that defense. It's because of that offense, excuse me.
No.
It's bad.
No, I love your point about CJ Stroud. I think we have to ask major questions about him moving forward. What is he like? I know I can't even remember like if I had this guy. I feel like I definitely had this guy in my top 10 quarterbacks coming into this year, but maybe not after the down year. I would have to go back and look at it. He was definitely in that like 10 to 12-ish range for me. But man, you look at CJ Stroud and you have to ask yourself, top 10, like, is he top 15? Is he top 20? Like, I'm not even trying to like exaggerate here or overreact.
Sure, but I think you could get
when you talk about raising your team
15 and come up with an argument.
Like when you watch Geno Smith, for example, on the Raiders, and this is an example of playing horrible, right? Like, how do you feel in comparison to watching CJ Stroud? Like,
yeah, and Geno and the Raiders were bad following.
They were horrible to watch. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's like it's worse when you're watching CJ Stroud because you expect more. And then you look at Nico Collins and you think, well, why can't we get Nico Collins the ball? You look around at some of their talent.
He's not in the same stratosphere as Daniel Jones right now, bro. I mean, I'm just honestly, I think to bring up a point real quick, we can run through this. I got
Sam Darnold
up here right now. Like, all right, so Jaden Daniels. Yes. Jordan Love, yes. Jalen Hurts, yes. Patrick Mahomes, yes. That's 4. Joe Burrow, 5. Dak Prescott, 6.
Yeah.
I would take Jared Goff over CJ Stroud right now.
Yeah.
7. Yeah. Matt Stafford, 8.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, 9.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, 10.
Yeah.
I'm just giving like the gimmies right now.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, 11.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, 12. So we're at 12, clear as day. Right? That's not including the likes of these middle of the pack guys. When you talk about Geno, you talk about Rodgers right now, you talk about Sam Darnold, Bo Nix, Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence.
Even Brock Purdy last season over CJ Stroud. Like,
I mean, I just watched Russell Wilson throw for 450 yards.
Yeah. I mean, I by no means a Brock Purdy fan, but like he played better than CJ Stroud last year.
So I think there's a legitimate argument to make that he's not playing top 15 football right now at the quarterback position.
Easily, man. You have to really question what he is. He's gonna have to do some soul searching. Obviously, DeMeco Ryans is not an offensive oriented head coach, so you're gonna have to figure some things out in Houston, man. Maybe getting Joe Mixon back at some point will help. We'll have to wait on that and see. But I think to your point, as far as getting to and I'm talking about the next level, getting to the playoffs, maybe getting a playoff win, CJ Stroud has to play better football, period.
Yeah.
Which we're just not seeing. And then on the other side of those Monday night matchups, which you mentioned, not many points scored after that that Sunday afternoon, right? Looking at the Chargers, they went to Las Vegas, beat up on Geno Smith and those Raiders, 20-9. Justin Herbert had a solid game, 242, 2 tutties. Their defense looked pretty solid, obviously containing Ashton Jeanty and Geno Smith in that offense. The Chargers so far taking care of business, man. I'll give them once again a little bit of credit where it's due. This was a Raiders team that went into New England, I believe, and got a W in week 1, which we don't know what New England is yet, but they were able to go away on the road and win a football game. The Chargers go into their house, their home opener, and they take care of business, man. So I like the way the Chargers have handled week 1 and week 2. It was very impressive, ultimately.
No, absolutely. It's both sides of the ball. The fact that last year you had J.K. Dobbins and who was the other back in LA last year? They had a two-headed horse.
Why am I
forget
blanking?
who was with J.K. Dobbins. I almost said Gus Edwards, but I'm like, that was Baltimore with J.K. Dobbins, so it couldn't.
Gus Edwards was there though.
Was
he?
he?
Was on. Yeah,
so
he was on the Chargers
so they
as
just
well.
took the Ravens' old backfield, I guess. But,
definitely at one point. I can't remember if it was last year, but yeah, he was definitely there with JK.
Right now, you have a vet and Najee Harris, who is still getting acclimated, missed time towards the end of camp and to start the season. Marion Hampton is the rookie, fumbled the other night, not getting off to a quick start. So they're not even as balanced as they probably would like to be. They are relying more on Herbert and pushing the ball down the field. But I'll tell again, all the questions, this has nothing to do with regular season. This is all going to be down in January. What does he look like? But I will say, this is the version of Justin Herbert that can get a Chargers team to an AFC championship.
Yeah.
And the way, as minimal as it seemed, as we talk about all these homecoming receivers at this time of year, like Adam Thielen going back to Minnesota, everyone was raving about that to go along with Jettas and Naylor and Addison. The Keenan Allen addition back to this team, man. You have a guy, you have a one in Ladd McConkey who tears apart zone defenses. You have a two in Quentin Johnston who had hands issues last year, right? So far, not the case this year, and could take the top off the defense like you saw.
Having a breakout season.
Close out the half. And then you add in a vet in Keenan Allen, who's still a great route runner, still has great hands, and kills a zone as well. They're lethal on third downs. They're pushing the ball over the middle of the field, 20, 25 yards upfield at a time, man. Big chunk plays. This is the version of this offense of Justin Herbert to go along with a hardball-minded defense.
Yeah.
That can do damage, man. And the way you see the Bo Nix and the Broncos struggling through 2 weeks, what we've seen out of Kansas City and their offense through 2 weeks, as of right now, it is the Chargers. It is the Chargers division as of right now.
Yeah. And to your point, they got a big matchup this weekend against those Denver Broncos back in LA. So we'll get to see them square off this weekend. And that's a huge game because if the Chargers can go up 3-0 in this division right now, you have the Chiefs 0-2. We'll see what they look like in week 3. They're going to be desperate for a win. And then obviously beating the Broncos, you would knock them down to 1-2, man. So huge game for the Chargers coming up this weekend against the Broncos. But as far as last week, any other major takeaways? I know we had the Ravens blow out the Browns. We had the Rams take care of business against the Titans. You were about to mention the Bills.
I have one more thing to say, and this may just seem very overreactionary. And after the fourth quarter comeback the previous week on our kickoff show on Sunday, I did kind of talk up the confidence that probably built. I don't need to see anymore. I'm sticking a fork in it 2 games into a career. JJ McCarthy stinks. It's what I thought before the season. JJ McCarthy stinks. I don't think he can throw the football. I truly don't think he can push the football down the field. I think he throws it scared. I don't think he uses his lower half to try to push the ball down the field. That offense is so lethargic. They cannot run the football right now. Jordan Mason is breaking off more chunk runs than Aaron Jones is. I believe I saw Aaron Jones is now hurt as well.
He's on IR.
No, I think this Vikings team is in trouble. They've played 8 quarters, only one of which has been good. Yeah. And the reason you have a win, you play the Chicago Bears. It's the only reason you have
who know how to melt down a little bit worse than you do. JJ McCarthy, 2 interceptions in that game against the Falcons, 6 sacks. So not necessarily his fault on the 6 sacks, but sacked 6 times nonetheless. 3 fumbles in that game, man. He just did not look like
threw a pick 6 week 1. No, I think he stinks, quite frankly. And it's why you can have that roster. You can have a top 2 wide receiver, maybe the best wide receiver in football. You can have a defense that people say is championship worthy. I don't view that Vikings defense as champion. I think the Vikings defense is stellar. I think it's good. I think it's above average. I think it's a top 12-ish unit. You play the Minnesota Vikings. You scared of the Minnesota Vikings defense?
No. No.
So,
Not at all.
Yeah, I'm out on the Minnesota.
Especially the way they were just ran through. I mean, did Michael Penix even have to do it? Like, the conversations we have about the Eagles when Saquon goes off, that's what Bijan and Tyler Algier were doing to that Vikings unit, man. They just ran through them. So yeah, this isn't looking, and this was in Minnesota as well, man. Just yeah, that was a horrible game to watch, by the way. That was just so not entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, it's two guys that had the over in this game, and it never sniffed a chance.
Why that's
never,
miserable.
ever sniffed a chance of coming close.
Never even close. The other game that I'll point at, well, two more actually. Two more just came to mind actually. Obviously, you had the Giants and the Cowboys. That was a high scoring matchup.
What a game!
Russell Wilson, man, how can you bench Russell Wilson after he throws for 450 yards?
No, there's no chance.
Like, I just mean even in the future, like not next week, obviously, but like even later this season, you look back and he had 450 passing yards in this like showdown in Dallas, man. It's going to be hard
Cowboys,
to bench.
So it makes it that much funnier. Like it's that defense. But I mean, 30 of 41, 3 tutties. Obviously, the tutty late in the game, the neighbors to take the lead with like 50 seconds left or whatever was left on the clock at that point. Which, again, I don't know what Dallas was doing defensively. However you let someone, I don't care if it was like double covered in the end. However you even allow him down there to have a shot at a deep ball and jump ball in that situation is crazy. But 30-41, 450, 3 tutties. Did turn the ball over recklessly in overtime.
He did.
Just chucked another deep ball down there, and it got picked, and then the Cowboys ultimately melt the clock away and kick a field goal at the end of OT. I mean, it was close to being a tie. Like, I think there was like less than a minute and a half left when Dallas kicked that field goal.
Yeah.
But it's a fair point. Russ looked phenomenal. Malik Neighbors definitely, as a fantasy owner, excited because it looks like hopefully this will continue and have a guy that can get him the ball. The Giants are just in a weird spot, and the Cowboys are in a weird spot as well. Like, if you're the Giants, the defense is what's supposed to be your strong suit.
Right.
And the defense showed up in Washington against Jaden Daniels in that offense, but gets absolutely smoked. And, I mean, they held Dallas scoreless in the first quarter. So, from the third quarter on, you gave up 40 points.
Yeah.
Which is insane. But if you're Dallas, bro, like, honestly, if there's a Cowboys fan that's going to listen to this, push the excitement back down. If you have any. I mean, we talk about ugly wins all the time. There is nothing to be excited for if you're a Cowboys fan.
Dak's playing top 10 football, man.
Congratulations. He always does in the regular season. Always does. That's not changing.
I just had to throw that out there. I saw on ESPN, man, they were saying that Dak is playing like the best quarterback around the league right now. And I'm just sitting here like, what? I get Josh Allen did not have like a MVP performance against the Jets, but like, are we just?
I mean, was Dak Prescott even the best quarterback in this game? I mean, don't get me wrong.
The numbers say no. The numbers say no for sure.
He put up ridiculous numbers as well.
Yeah, he did. 350 plus 2
He threw the ball 11 more times than Russ.
52 times in this game, man.
Yeah, threw the ball 11 more times and came away with 90 less yards, 1 less passing touchdown, and both QBs threw a pick. Now, Dallas comes away with the win. Dak leads the game-winning drive when Russ couldn't in overtime. He played incredibly well. But, like, I'm not even sure. He wasn't even the better quarterback on the field last Sunday. And he's playing the best ball in the National Football League to start. Like, what are we doing?
I do want to ask you about Neighbors, man. Just while we're talking about monstrous numbers there, and I know you mentioned him earlier. Is there a chance he could become the best receiver in the NFC East this year? And we're Eagles fans. Like, I'm an A.J. Brown adorer. CeeDee Lamb exists. Like, I understand that. But I think
on
this bum-ass Giants team.
I'll put it to you this way. If you were, let's just say we were stripping all the teams down, right? Just player for player, and you were to build a football team. No, I do not think at the end of the year, Malik Neighbors is a better wide receiver than A.J. Brown or CeeDee Lamb. However, at the end of this year, I think when we reflect back on the season and you look at numbers and impact on the team and everything like that,
Yeah.
I think you could say Malik Neighbors had the best season in this division. Like numbers wise, as the way the season's starting, he's going to blow
pace,
AJ out of the water.
Yeah. CD's up there, but
you
I
add
think
in
he's
the
got to
drop
even be
factor
past
with
him
CD.
right now.
Yeah, you add in the drops with CD Lamb and everything. So I think there's a chance you could look back numbers-wise and say, yeah, Malik Neighbors statistically had the best season a wide receiver had in this division. If you were to draft a team and you were to say A.J. Brown, Malik Neighbors, or CD Lamb, I think he comes in third.
Fair. He leads the league in receiving yards right now, 238.
I love it.
And then CD Lamb is number 3. So it is still
Question
close.
for you real quick, because I have Neighbors in this league. I have T. Higgins in this league. Now, obviously, he scored with Jake Browning in his quarterback. Jake Browning's been here for a few years now. He knows the system. They clearly will allow him to throw the football down the field with these guys. So, but it does impact, my receiver in T. Higgins. And then also, so I had Burrow, turf toe done, which, by the way, another conversation, but they need to come up with a new word, medical term for turf toe.
I agree.
Because when I saw the injury, I'm like, oh, no, he's done. And then they said, Joe Burrow, questionable to return toe. And I went, are you fucking kidding me? Stubbed his toe? And then it turns out to be turf toe. And you're like, what does turf toe even mean? I was listening to the Kelseys talk about it earlier. Come up with a new name because it's painful. But I had Jordan Love as my backup. They're playing Cleveland this week. But I did pick up Danny Dimes.
Who do they play?
Let me check. I believe they play Tennessee. Yeah, they play the Titans.
So they should. It's just going to be funny, right?
It's going to be hilarious when I start him over Jordan Love and Daniel Jones returns back to Daniel Jones.
Yeah, but I do feel you. Jordan Love against Cleveland. I mean, obviously Lamar was able to get off towards, I believe, mostly in the second half of that game. It was close in that Cleveland-Baltimore game to at least at the beginning, like the first quarter. But eventually Lamar was able to open it up a little bit. I think he had 4 passing touchdowns. So it's interesting. I get the idea behind it for sure, and especially the way Danny Dimes has been playing. He's a dual threat, so it's like the Packers can beat the Browns without even having to pass the ball that much. They can just run the football.
Right. But somehow Derrick Henry, who's also on my fantasy team, got me 2 points against the Browns defense last week.
Interesting.
That is something else I would bring in. I know the Ravens absolutely shelled the Browns, so there's nothing to really get into there. And Lamar was absolutely fantastic.
D-Hop revival.
Yeah, but people sit here and they're like, how did the Eagles not get A.J. Brown involved? Motherfucker. How did the Ravens not get Derrick Henry the ball?
Yeah.
I think he had like 12 carries. And this wasn't, I'm not talking about like when they were blowing them out at the end of the game. I'm talking like first half, it's 10-3 at halftime, and Derrick Henry has 0 fantasy points. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, how does he have 0? Like you said, he's not touching the football. Yeah. Like, maybe that's part of the game plan against the Browns. I'm not sure, man. It does bring to mind divisional opponent for both of those teams, the Steelers, man. You're at home against the Seattle Seahawks. You're at home against Sam Darnold. We saw what the defense looked like week 1 against the Jets. Justin Fields was able to open it up against them. We kind of just shoved that to the side, said, that's a one-off. That's week 1 jitters, whatever. They're figuring stuff out. They'll be better next week. They'll bounce back. I think we both had the Steelers winning this one, right? I was even considering laying it. Thank goodness I didn't. I know D-Rab did out there. But, sorry about that, D-Rab, because I was with you. I thought the Steelers were going to win as well. But not only did the Seahawks go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers, but they went into Pittsburgh and dropped 31 points on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And we look at what the Jets and Justin Fields did to that Steelers defense the week prior.
It's concerning.
Yeah, man. I mean, I talked this unit the hell up in the offseason, when we were breaking that division down and getting ready for the season and all. And obviously it's 2 weeks in and there's a lot of new faces and learning a new system, so things could turn around. But man, I'm watching Jalen Ramsey trail a no-name receiver 8 yards across the field for a walk-in touchdown in the first quarter. I'm watching Darius Slay, F up. I mean, you gave up. What did they give up to the Jets in week 1?
32? I believe it was 34 to 32. Yeah.
I mean, you're giving up 32 and 31 to the likes of Justin Fields and Sam Darnold. Like, you're not playing, the Bengals offense. You're not playing the Ravens offense. You're not playing Josh Allen. You're not playing the Eagles. Like, you're averaging 31.5 points given up to Sam Darnold and Justin Fields. That's a problem to start the year. So
and look, they got another quarterback and another team that they should be able to bounce back against in the New England Patriots. Drake Mays looked all right to start the season. He definitely looked good against the Dolphins. But once again, is this Steelers defense is it going to be like a bottom?
I don't know, but early on, those overs seem to be cash cows in Steelers games.
In the Pittsburgh games, yeah.
It's sitting at 44.5 right now, which is obviously elevated in the first 2 weeks. I think the books are getting a little bit more acclimated to what's going on. But I'm watching, like you mentioned, I'm watching Drake May and that offense. It is the Dolphins, but run through the Dolphins and do whatever they wanted last week. And we're seeing the Steelers get ran through. But we are seeing the Steelers offense through, they weren't great last week, but the week prior, 34 points. Last week, they should have had more. I think they missed a field goal, had some other things happen. So could be a cash cow of an over on Sunday.
Something to keep an eye on, definitely.
Yeah. Problem is the Eagles play at the same time, and I'm a sucker when it comes to the game.
It's hard
Instead of just focusing about winning money, sometimes I put my own invested needs ahead of that.
I know. I'm with you.
I get stupid, Scotty, but
that's the difficulty with 1 p.m. Eagles games for sure.
Yeah, correct.
I did want to shout somebody out though before we move on. I know we got power rankings and tiers to go through here. Shout out to Milton Williams, man. 2 sacks, game-closing sack against the Dolphins. So shout out to a former Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagle, Milton Williams, doing his thing up in New England. So that's pretty awesome to see.
Rams game feels like a game we should win, but a great Vegas spot to influence a loss. It's going to be interesting to see where the money comes in, man, because there's going to be people out there that are going to throw money on the Rams, especially the spread. Jalen Hurts in games where the Eagles are favored by more than 3 points or something, in which the total is like under 44 or 45, has never lost. Just throwing that out there for you.
As you're talking there, I'm just thinking like Eagles team total. I feel like it'll probably lose a little juice going into this weekend after last week's performance. So I
could see it being in the low 20s, like 22.5 or something like that. I can take a peek at it in a second after we run through these power rankings.
Feels like a snap spot for me, though. I feel an Eagles offense bounce back coming this weekend, though. We'll see what the defense looks like. That CB2 is a concern. We'll obviously get into that more on Sunday. But
I saw a post. I can't remember earlier on X if it was the Rams Twitter account or if it was just a fan account that got a lot of attention. But it was like the Rams have not allowed a rushing touchdown, or the Rams have not allowed a rushing touchdown. No, I think it was a rushing touchdown of like in like their last 6 games or something like that. And someone was like, "Oh, so we're not counting playoffs, huh?"
Yeah,
like,
right.
We're not counting playoffs, but you gave up like 4 of them bitches, are we?
Yeah, like, Jalen and Saquon running, screaming down the field, boy.
So we'll talk about it, bro. But obviously, I wanted to pull this graphic up with you guys. Don't think we can because it's just not fitting on the screen. We have another graph to pull up, but our updated collective top 10 power rankings doing a little differently this year. Rather than going one by one, we're becoming cohesive. We're a unit in year 3, Scott.
Putting our minds together.
Yeah. Coming and just losing all our bets. All my money. All right, number
Not
1.
tonight.
Correct. Number 1. Until you beat the king, the king remains. The Philadelphia Eagles are number 1 on the power rankings. It hasn't looked the prettiest. There are some teams right below them that, you can make the argument for. They are playing the best ball in the National Football League for 2 weeks.
Sure.
The bottom line is when you're the defending champs, I know they say they're not defending shit, but you are the defending champs. You come in this season and win 2 really gritty games, go into Arrowhead and win that football game in the fashion you did, the Eagles remain king at number 1. Coming in at number 2, just like last week, the Green Bay Packers, obviously with an impressive win over Washington on a short week on Thursday Night Football in Lambeau. Jordan Love looks absolutely spectacular. They're moving Micah Parsons all around that defensive line, and he's just wreaking havoc. Love what the Packers are doing so far, even though that pains me to say because they're whiny bitches. Coming in at number 3, the Buffalo Bills. Scotty, there are some people that say the Bills are the best team in the National Football League right now, and they do play tonight. What do you have to say to that?
Not a chance, but we'll see how it goes, man. That defense is they're not the best team in football, man. Like, they are led by maybe the best player in football. Yeah. And he gives them a chance in every game, but they're not the best overall team in football. But they deserve to be in the top 3. I do agree with that for sure.
I agree with you. And D-Rab coming in at number 4, another undefeated team in the AFC, Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers. Obviously, the win in Brazil against the Chiefs started out the year with a bang. But to go on the road into Vegas, they haven't even been home yet, Scotty. And to play that team and hold them to 3 field goals and turn them over a couple times. Herbert protecting the ball, pushing the ball down the field. Like we mentioned earlier, the rushing game for LA, I almost said San Diego, hasn't even gotten going yet, and I expect that too as the year goes on. So Chargers coming in at number 4. At number 5, they get in the win column, but it is the Baltimore Ravens, and obviously we didn't really affect them too much from week 0 to after week 1 from the Bills' loss. Obviously, it was an ugly way to lose, but what a battle, what a game, 41-40 on Sunday Night Football. You don't get crippled from that, and then they find a way to beat the shit out of the Browns. So they're 5. Number 6, the 2-0 Los Angeles Rams, who the Birds will see this week. After a week 1 unimpressive, uninspiring offensive performance, you saw all of it and more last week. The impact that Devontae Adams is having on this offense was the Tennessee Titans, but still over 30 points in this game. Very impressive. Number 7, a come-from-behind win on Monday night, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. Again, not fully healthy on the offensive line. Don't know when Chris Godwin will be returning, but that will only add to Emeka Egbuka and Mike Evans and make that offense better.
Rookie's a stud so far. Yeah.
The Bucky Irving hasn't even gotten going yet through 2 weeks. So the Bucs, again, another team that will be able to continue to run the ball as the year goes on. They're undefeated at number 7. At number 8, we have the Detroit Lions. Big questions coming out of week 1 from that loss in Lambeau. Beat the absolute hell out of Ben Johnson and the Bears last week at home. When you drop a 50 burger, you inspired. You reminded me a little bit of who you are, Dan Campbell. And that is one of the better teams in the NFC. So they come in at number 8. Number 9, you can make the argument that they should be above a 1-loss team. It is the Indianapolis Colts. The way that Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen's offense is firing right now, that is a big win over a Denver Bronco defense last week. Looking to turn it into 3-0 against Cam Ward and the Titans this week. I like what the Colts are doing so far. Number 10 was by far the hardest thing to pick, right?
Absolutely.
You allow the Chiefs to stay in your top 10, even though they're 0-2. The Commanders lost last week against the first good team they played, but Jaden Daniels is injured. You're looking around these other 1-1 teams. You got the Cardinals are 2-0, but they played the Saints and the Panthers. The 49ers are 2-0, but, Mac Jones is in right now. We had the Cincinnati Bengals. They were a team that Scotty, really pushed to be a playoff team before the year started. Everyone has questions about their defense, but through 2 weeks and what we saw the offense do last week against Jacksonville was nice. The problem is Joe Burrow's out for 3+ months. Will he return the season? We don't know, but there's a possibility he does. Can the backup, Jake Browning and the defense keep them afloat as the year goes on? But Cincinnati rounds out our top 10 power rankings, which I will kick to Scotty right now when we pull up these tier rankings.
Yes, sir.
We make changes as the weeks go on. Obviously, this is very reactionary. You could see a team that is in the stinks category climb up to a playoff contender in 5 weeks. We just don't know yet. But as of right now, I believe there's only 4 Super Bowl championship contenders. That is the Baltimore Ravens, the Bills in the AFC, the Packers, and the Eagles. Very well could be your 2 championship games on Championship Sunday this year, which would be incredible.
Absolutely.
A lot of playoff contenders, Scotty. More playoff contenders than the league can hold in seeds.
Yeah, very true. Very
Well, we don't
open
know
to
who to fill
start
out
the
last.
season, man. Yeah. You see some teams mixed in there. You have to ask questions like, will they remain? You look at the San Francisco 49ers of the world. But in that division, why not? Why aren't they contenders to ultimately make the playoffs? Steelers defense looked rocky. You got Joe Burrow beat up, but these are all teams in decent position. They control their own destiny so far, man. The no man's land teams, those are interesting to me as well. We talked about those coming into the show. That was one where we kind of made some big decisions. You look at the Cowboys, yeah, they get the big win against the Giants, but you're at home against the New York Giants, and you allow 37 points to be dropped on your defense, and it ultimately takes overtime and 40 points to win. Not impressive. You see the Falcons go into Minnesota. That's a big W for them, but you have to ask major questions about Minnesota and that quarterback play, man, which they're right beside them in that no man's land, because if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. And right now, that quarterback play looks miserable. Texans, same exact thing in a sense. I mean, CJ Stroud had the explosive rookie year. We have not seen him since. And then Trevor Lawrence is a guy that we're still asking questions. They're no longer questions anymore.
You can't
answer them. Yeah. He's not going to show up when you need him to. I think he's answered the questions, and that's why the Jags are in no man's land as well, man.
Yeah, it's simply a game you can't lose. We talked about it earlier. If the Jags come out and hold on to a second half lead and beat Jake Browning at home last week, they're 2-0. They're arguably a team we can be talking about the same level as the Colts right now on that playoff contender list. And at the top of the AFC South, but you come away with that loss, and your quarterback is a pretty big reason behind it. Your defense, like we mentioned, I mean, the Bengals only had 10 points at halftime. So your defense allowed Jake Browning-led offense to not only turn the ball over 3 times, but as well put up 21 points in the second half against you, come away with a loss. Yeah. So that can't happen. You mentioned it's so funny when I look at these teams. There's there's just two extremes on sides of the ball. Like the Cowboys offense, you could put in Super Bowl contention. Yeah. The Cowboys defense is in the absolute stinks contention.
Yeah.
So that's why they're there. You get the Falcons and the Vikings, fine defenses, hell, even stellar defenses. Your offenses are a problem. More specifically, the JJ McCarthy Vikings and Stroud and the Texans, man. But I think the more interesting one to try to figure out as we adjust these throughout the year is the better than last year. Because at what point do we move these guys up or down?
The Cardinals, right? Man.
I don't think any team besides the Cardinals has adjusted that yet. Yeah. The Cardinals, I just can't move because of the opponents, man.
They're 2-0, man. They got a big matchup this weekend against a division opponent, the 49ers. They visit San Fran. Obviously, I doubt Brock Purdy's going to be ready for that, but Mac Jones was looking good against New Orleans, but looked good nonetheless running that offense. That's a big spot for the Cardinals, man. They're 2-0. If you can,
that's an opportunity to flip those two teams, or at least slide the Niners down and move the Cardinals up to that playoff contention. Because if they start 3-0 with that win, it will help their case. But I think the Raiders, the Raiders have a game.
They're interesting.
They play this week.
They played the Chargers, which 20-9. I mean,
no, this upcoming week.
Oh, who do they play?
They play. They're at home against the Bears. That doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah. They should. Well, they should beat the Bears, right?
That's what I was gonna say. Don't lose the game. You lose the game, we're gonna have a discussion.
Yeah, because you see where the Bears are at.
Yeah, you see that stinky line all the way down there, and I think those are the definitive worst teams in football. I think we are a few weeks away from 2 teams coming down. I think you could see the Titans and the Jets come down. Justin Fields is out with concussion already this week. If the Jets and Titans lose a string of 4 or 5 more games, or lose 4 out of 5, and they're 1-5, 1-6 to start the year. Yeah, they're getting brought down to that stinks.
Giants too. I would throw the Giants in that group too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that is funny. It kind of gets lost in the offensive output last week. The Giants are 0-2.
Yeah,
they have not, garnered a win yet. So fair point. You get lost in what Russell Wilson did and Malik Neighbors, and you're like, oh man, look at that game. But bottom line is they haven't won yet. So
Yeah,
you lose a
gotta
couple
win
more,
football games.
and you're not in a good spot. That's all I can say. But
No.
before we get out of here, man, let's take a look at this Thursday night football matchup. Get into some gambling edges. You got Josh Allen and the Bills, arguably to some people the best team in football right now, taking on at home the Tua-led Miami Dolphins. Jalen Watt, Matt Milano, and Ed Oliver out for that Buffalo defense, which could be a problem tonight because that Dolphins defense did look good last week against the New England defense.
The
offense, yes. Yeah. Did I say defense?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's all good. It's all good. I got you.
Thank you for that. Total was sitting at 50.5.
It's a bit high.
Bills, let me just make sure. I know ESPN bet says 11.5. DraftKings has.
I would say 12.5.
Yes. Let me just make sure that this
is minus
correct.
110.
If I had any Wi-Fi right now, it'd be fantastic.
I can check
12.5. The total on DraftKings is also 49.5, not 50.5. So just point that out. I don't even want to say it. Give me Miami plus 12.5 tonight as my best bet. Look, this is one of those games, like I said earlier, you got a significant other out there, fellas. She's always complaining about how much, how your weekends are taken up. You can't get off the couch on Sundays. I want to go to the pumpkin patch. I want to do something. Let's go see a movie. This is the night. There was a football game to miss.
Take a night off.
If you wanted to save money by taking your girl out because you're probably just going to lose it to the Bucs tonight, this is the game to skip and go on a date night. But I'm a sicko, and that's not happening. Give me the Dolphins plus 12.5. You know me, Scotty. I love overs. It's fun. Just root for points. We haven't been so lucky at them. So I lean the under tonight. If I was to give out a play on the total, I would take the under. It's a lot of points on a short week. When do we ever get a 31-27 Thursday night football game? You know what I mean?
Divisional rivals. Yeah, divisional rivals. Miami.
I lean the under. The problem is, I know deep down, the second I press that button for under 49.5,
they're going to come out cranking.
Yep. The Bills will score 27 in the first half by themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shoot myself in the foot.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Give me Miami to cover this game. Oh, God, I can't believe I'm saying it.
It's just how big the spread is. Obviously, we know what the Bills can do. We saw what they did this past weekend against the Jets. But you have to hope that Miami can put a fight up on national television on Thursday night. You're 0-2. Mike McDaniel on the hot seat. Shit, Tua's on the fucking hot seat right now. These guys got to come out and perform. And to be fair, the Bills defense week one, giving up points like that to the Ravens. Obviously, the Ravens are a well-oiled offensive machine, but I think the Dolphins will be able to score a little bit of points tonight, and I don't think their defense is going to get ran through like that. I think they're going to come out with some effort. It's a divisional opponent. They know the Bills well, and it was something I was discussing with a Miami fan earlier today. They talked about how they
Miami fans.
I do, man. I actually work with a few. I work with a few Florida folk. They were reminding me how, the Dolphins used to be a thorn in the side of Tom Brady and those New England Patriots, and how the Patriots would have these seasons where they're 14-3 or, these low loss totals, but one thorn in the side of their neck would be the Miami Dolphins, and he's getting that kind of feel for Josh Allen here. So a lot of hype going into this, man. I'm going to hit it with you. I'm going to hit that spread Miami's way. 12.5. That is a lot of points, man.
Yeah, and, on a short week in a divisional matchup.
Short week, divisional matchup. And I also, to kind of ride along with that, I do like A-Chain to get in the end zone tonight. Plus 105 it dropped down to now. It was plus 110.
I like it. A player prop I have for you. Now, Jalen Waddle, obviously for the Dolphins' spread sake, I'm hoping does play. But even if he doesn't, he is coming into this matchup banged up. You look at what took place last week. The offense does seem like it's getting into gear a little bit. Tyreek Hill's over-under for yards is 64.5 right now.
Man. That might be a play. Yeah. Don't want to put too much money into this.
149. Yeah, I know.
Let me settle down.
But I somehow will.
Yeah, I'll go with Bills to win, Dolphins to cover.
I agree.
Bet the spread.
I lean the under. It's just, man, and let me ask you this. When it comes to, and we saw, like we said, what the Cowboys and Giants did, and obviously we hit the over in the Cincinnati game. So, like, there's a lot of points to be had in these games still, and it's early on in the season, so you expect things to pick up. But when you really, like, when it's a primetime game and you do take an over in the NFL, like now today, doesn't it just feel like possessions last
forever? They get 3 points out of them.
Like, they're just taking forever. Like, I remember the other night in one quarter, I think each team touched the ball once. Dude, and they came away with like a field goal combined, and it's like that crushes you. It just feels
teams
like
go for it on fourth a lot more.
Like, if like every team, there's no set. Maybe Miami will be different tonight. Maybe like Mike McDaniels will want to get something cooking, but there's no sense of hurry up. There's no sense of tempo. There's no sense of this is my identity. It is legitimately like every team runs the play clock down to 2 or 3 seconds on every snap. If it's a 2-minute warning, it doesn't even matter if they're trying to score points or what. If it's heading on the 2-minute warning and it's at 2:29 and there's 30 seconds on the play clock, they'll run the 29 seconds off and not snap another ball on second and 5. Like, there's no.
It's weird. Maybe it's just the start of season.
It's very odd. So that's like what makes me weary of like needing 50 plus points in a game like this.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's a lot of points.
So, yeah, man. Bills win. Dolphins cover, lean the under, A-Chain to find the end zone, Tyreek Hill 65 plus receiving yards.
Yes,
those are our best bets for Thursday night football. Guys, make sure to check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Follow us, and then check us out on YouTube. You can find the Turf Talk YouTube channel, which we are live on Thursdays as well as Sunday mornings. Make sure to subscribe. You can find the DSM Philly YouTube channel, which we're live throughout the weeks for the Faithful Fanatic show, as well as pregame lives, which will be every Sunday whenever the Eagles play, Phillies postseason when the Sixers start. And then as well as one more, the Scotty Talks NBA YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe there. I know Martian saw that throwback court. No, he saw those designs laid out.
We're
getting ready. Yeah, man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun time coming up. It's the best time as we head up for October. Follow, subscribe, like, enjoy the rest of your night.
Peace, everybody.